What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
That makes me more mad than it should.
It changes to red once you hit record. Then it's red as its end recording, but it's blue.
I feel like it should always be red.
Yeah, it should always be red.
Send an
I
email.
went
Just
down
weird.
a rabbit hole today of just looking at like podcasting equipment and all the stuff that you can get, and I really went down a rabbit hole. It was bad.
Well, that's a good thing, though.
I didn't spend any money. I'll make that disclaimer right now. There was no money spent,
But there will be.
there will be
At some point.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe after.
Well, I can tell you what computer not to get. How about that?
He's like, don't get this one that I'm using.
No, and it's an Alienware. It was like, I don't know what it is.
That's a pretty decent brand.
Yeah,
too.
I'm
That's
confused.
interesting.
Yeah. I think I just didn't get enough RAM. I cheaped out on the RAM. I don't get like 16. That's a me problem. I got to add some.
That's I'm in the same boat right now.
You know,
Actually,
so yeah.
I was just telling Casey I bought F123 the video game because it was
Yeah.
like 60% off, and I have my Oculus like VR headset, and you can plug it in and play the game in a VR mode where you're in the cockpit of the car driving it.
So hard.
Right.
It's first of all very hard, but
Yeah.
I had F122. Casey got it for me last Christmas, and it ran great. And I only have 16 gigs of RAM in my system, in my computer as well. And I started running this one the other day.
And it started smoking.
I was teleporting across the track because the game would freeze and then render. So like I would see a turn coming, and I would go like this, and then I would just teleport, and I'm in the opposite wall of like the turn that I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Taking too long, and I'm like, this is just brutal. Like,
Yeah.
it
I've
ran
been thinking
fine.
I just
It was
gotta-
like me just looking at the screen. It ran okay, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
man.
fun.
Like PCs get obsolete so fast.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up next on Video Game Talk, Owen.
That's Owen's dream right there. That's his
You want me to
dream.
get going? I got a list of like 20 games I want to play on my phone, so
Yeah.
I can keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on my like third playthrough of Starfield already.
Nice,
So,
very good. I didn't buy that.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Like, but I do this all the time. I get a game and I like speed through it. And
yeah.
I'm like, all right, I missed like 90% of it. So I got to start over. And then I speed through it. I'm like, all right, well, I missed 60%. So I got to start over again. But yeah, it's a lot. Like that whiteboard there has just a list of Starfield stuff I need to do. Like it used to be work related. Now it's just Starfield stuff. So
Oh, you know what?
Priorities.
yeah.
I'm gonna say this loud enough so Ange can hear me. And, I really think that I need a whiteboard of video games stuff that I
Yeah.
want to do too.
Because look, I'm much older than the two of you, but I forget stuff all the time. I have to write it down. And to
Yeah,
have a whiteboard right there,
Right there.
it's perfect.
that's a good move. That is
Yeah.
a good move.
It's a veteran move.
Well, yeah. Welcome everyone.
Was like, Owen's doing their intro.
Thank you for our short
Our 3-minute video game.
video.
I was
game
saying, if you're talking about video games, that's where I clock out. I don't know
Yeah.
much about video games.
This episode won't actually feature Casey. It's just me and Mark talking video games. So, just yeah.
See ya.
Welcome everyone. F1 Underground. Obviously, my name is Owen. That is Casey. We have a very special guest with us again. You know him. His name is Mark.
You know.
He is a dear friend of the show. We love him. We love having him on. And today we're gonna kind of keep it simple. We're just gonna go over, kind of do a big 2023 season recap. What did Mark think? What did we think? The whole 9 yards. But before we do that, I have, and Mark, I'll explain this to you too. I have a chocolate stout here, and this is part of the new segment that we have. This is
Ooh.
called Fritz's Sticky Bun Stout.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Fantastic.
So I'm gonna crack this real fast, and then I'll explain it to Mark. So here we go. Ready?
Oh, that was better than the other time. That was better.
That was
than the
good.
first
That was good.
Mhm.
All right.
That was good.
So, Mark, we have a new segment on the show that we like to call Pints and Pit Stops. And
like
essentially what it is I like beer. I like to drink beer. So I try a new beer and then I give thoughts on it. And then the pit stop portion of it, I'm also looking away because I'm pouring the beer into a glass right now and I don't want to spill this dark beer on my white sweatpants.
You would too.
I would, you're right. The pit stops portion of it is just a short trivia game. And I have 5 trivia questions that I want to run by you and see how well you do. And I also want to see
How fast, right?
how fast you can do it.
Wow.
So,
I failed miserably at the first one, okay? I failed
I'm gonna go-
miserably.
I am gonna just drive straight into a wall.
so they're not like so listen, when I did this last time with Casey, I was just watching, I don't know if you've watched it, the Braun GP documentary on
I haven't
Hulu.
watched it yet.
Oh,
So
it's good.
it follows the whole story of Braun GP and focuses heavily on Jensen Button. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make it Jensen Button focused. And Casey and I being new to the sport, Casey knew nothing about Jensen Button. And
His first question was like, what year was he born? I was like, I don't know.
Wow.
So listen, I tried
Yours
to
is easy,
dial
a little
back,
easy.
and these are just general F1 trivia questions from some from this season and some just in general.
Okay.
So
I just
when
want
I
to get
say
one right. I just want to get one.
That was me. I just
Oh,
wanted
you
one.
you 100%, you'll definitely get one.
Okay.
I would say you'll get 3 out of the 5.
Okay.
That's what
That's
I
an
was saying.
over under. I'm going
This
to
is what
hammer
we
the
need the
under.
whiteboard for, Owen, so you can keep the
Yeah.
leaderboard for who
Yeah,
has the
like
fastest times.
There you go.
God, there you go, Casey. Good work.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm going to, on the count of 3, I'm going to start. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, go. I'm going to start the timer, and then I'm going to read the first question, and then we're just going to go from there.
Rapid fire.
All right.
Goodness gracious, I'm nervous.
Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Who had the fastest pit stop of the year?
McLaren.
What's the shortest track on the F1 calendar?
Oh, shortest track. Austria.
What's the longest track on the F1 calendar?
Circuit of the Americas.
What race did Max Verstappen officially claim Drivers' Championship?
Cutter Sprint.
What was the only race this year not won by Red Bull?
Oh, Singapore, Ferrari.
That was 24:83.
That was good.
There was like 3 seconds in there for my blunder at the end.
Take it out.
Back it on. It's fine. It's
Casey,
fine.
what was your time? Do you remember? Wasn't it like
That was awful. I was like over a minute.
you were over?
I was a true Ferrari pit stop. I just like messed it up in the pit lane.
Yeah. There was somebody was putting on softs, the other guy was putting on mediums. It was a whole
Tired already.
Chaos.
And now I'm gonna take a sip of the beer just to try it.
It looks very dark. It's like
Was
black.
extreme dark.
Holy shit, that's delicious.
Oh, well, there you go.
That is delicious. I would have to say, actually, you know what? Give me a couple more sips and then I'll do a rating.
He has to do this for work too. That's why we.
Yeah, I'm part of a beer league at work, so people
Oh, well, there you go.
buy beer. There's 2 guys that go head to head every week. They buy beer, they hand it out to people, and then we have a week to drink it and vote on it and everything. And it's great because we vote on Wednesdays. And since we record on Tuesdays, I was like, I'm just going to build this into the show.
I want to
Like,
be in a beer league. That sounds amazing.
listen, if you want the rules, I'll send them over to you.
Yes, send them over, please.
Absolutely start it. Yeah.
I'm just going to start it with myself. Really, by myself.
Perfect.
He wins every week.
Yeah. I like to win.
All right.
tell us
So going through the answers. Fastest pit stop, you were correct. It was
All right, I got
1.8 seconds for Lando at the Qatar Grand Prix. Shortest track on the F1 calendar. It is Monaco.
Oh,
2.04 miles.
oh, I would have said Austria too.
And then
Yeah.
the longest track is Spa at 4.35
Yeah, I knew
miles.
that. The second I said, I
Yeah,
knew
you
I
knew.
could have gone.
Yeah. What race did Max Verstappen officially claim Drivers' Championship? You literally, I think, read word for word my answer. On my iPad. You said Qatar Sprint Race, and that is correct, the Qatar Sprint Race. And then what was the only race not won by Red Bull this year? And that was the Singapore GP, who was won by Carlos Sainz.
All right, so
don't worry.
I hit the
Look,
3.
3 out of 5.
I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, those were easier than what I got.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have asked me any question about Jetson Button, I would have said his initials are JB, and that's it. That's all. I got, right?
And it was like stuff that he was like not really talked about. It was like what other teams, how many teams did you drive through for? So I thought of Braun GP, and then McLaren, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I missed everyone before that.
I would have said
The first round was a test run.
Yeah.
Casey was the
guinea pig.
The test driver for it. Yeah, that works.
So
reserve driver.
Yeah. Congrats. We have a new time to beat at 24.
Now you're just gonna put it on the whiteboard.
24:80. I'm gonna write it on the wall right here.
Yeah.
Actually.
So, since you shared a prop, I feel it's important. I brought a prop for tonight's show as well.
Oh,
and good. I told this to Casey. First off, we got to get you on Threads.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
We have to get you on Threads. And
where it's at.
The deal, Owen.
Oh no!
Here it is.
There it is.
No.
The Haas bucket hat. The second you join Threads, just send me the address. It's yours.
Oh, and you can wear it on the honeymoon. Think of the idea.
This could be your honeymoon.
Wear it on the honeymoon.
And I'm not just offered it because I tried it on, took one look at myself in the mirror, and was like, absolutely not. This is just a genuine offer of friendship. This Haas bucket hat can be yours the moment you join Threads.
I want to join Threads. I want friends, but I can't.
What rights do the minute you get on there?
I can't abandon my 90 Twitter friends. I mean, come on. I got to have some form of loyalty to them.
Yes, you can.
And I won't lie. I'm a little bit nervous at the moment I join Threads. All of our followers and friends are just going to disappear because now clearly they don't like me. So it's the moment I join.
No, they like you. They're ready for you. They just want you to come out.
They are clamoring for Owen over on Threads. Mm-hmm. Like the second this podcast gets posted, that's what they're going to be talking about.
Yep.
Owen's going to join.
If enough people comment on this Threads, okay. if this is a clip we're posting, Case.
Yes, 11 minutes. I got it.
And then enough people want me to join Threads, I'll join Threads.
Okay.
There we go. See, I made my pitch.
There you go.
Again.
Pretty good pitch. And when you saw, I did show him the picture because you had it next to your cat, and he loves cats. So I thought that would sway him too.
And there's probably some of Rosie's hair on here too, to be honest.
Your cat is adorable, by the way. I'm just.
Oh, thank you. She's the alpha. Sunny, her sister's the beta. I could send some pictures of. There was a random neighborhood cat that came over, like walked up to our living room window and was like taunting them from the inside, and like Rosie was ready to defend everybody, and Sunny was just kind of like, I don't know where I am right now. They're a fun little pair.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is. I had in college. My roommate had a cat. His full name was Mufasa, but we call him Foos for short. And he was the same way. We had one time a cat do the same thing, like pop up on our windowsill. And I mean, I think the cat wasn't even like fully landed yet. And Foos was at the other side of the window just hissing at him. And we were like, whoa. What the hell is going on here?
It was like, I got a great picture. It looks like a bobcat on the outside of our window with like mouth open, teeth like.
Oh my goodness!
This is like, and you'll see like the two Rosie and the outdoor cat are like staring at each other. So he's just kind of looking around, like absolutely clue what's going on. So,
he doesn't care.
I love it.
Completely aloof.
That's fantastic.
Okay. I guess before we get into. Mark mentioned us on Threads earlier about if there's any other topics to talk about today. I feel like we got to talk about it before we get into a season recap because it's not going away anytime soon.
No.
I literally just posted about something else right before you
hopped
on. So
I was literally coming downstairs and I like got the notification from one of the accounts that I follow. It's like, oh, so we're going down this road. All right.
We're going down this road.
That someone was like, Netflix is screaming right now. It's like, yes, they are. They're going to have a whole spin-off series. For those that don't know, if they maybe live under a rock, today has not been a slow news day. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you guys froze, so I wanted to make sure. Can you see me still?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
All good.
Do you want me to give the summary, Casey? Or Mark?
Yeah, I mean, technology is not being our friend today.
Okay, I'm back.
There we go.
I'm moving to make sure I'm back. I could have hit pause. I just discovered the pause button on here and recording, but we're okay. So yes, obviously there's rumors that came out that Susie Wolff told some confidential information to Toto Wolff about Formula One or FIA, all that stuff. FIA took the rumors and ran with it and are now investigating them both, sent out a statement that Formula One didn't know about. Mercedes put out a statement. Susie Wolf put out a very strong worded statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now right before we came on, they're now saying that if they continue to act this way, the president of FIA, Formula One, Liberty Media would consider stepping away, which is like almost.
It would basically be like a you guts to go situation for
Yeah.
MVS at the FIA because look, this is like a firestorm. This is an absolute firestorm. Like I know when an F1 story is big time, when like non-F1 fans in my life are like, hey, what's this all about? And that was my entire like phone this afternoon and evening. Like we, at Vox, we use a Slack channel. We use Slack for everything. And we have like an F1 channel of, people like me on the sports side, people from other, Eater, Pop Sugar, whatever. And this is all we talked about all afternoon was this storyline. Like, and now when you've got, and I think we can surmise, like the reporting that came out was that, and I'm trying to get the wording right, a number of sources have told the BBC that if FIA President Ben Sulayem continues to act in a manner senior figures considered to be detrimental to the sport, F1 owners Liberty Media would lose patience to consider breaking away from the FIA, which, wow, that's sort of a earth-shattering kind of thing. Okay, senior figures. I think we can guess who at least one or two senior figures might be that believe at the moment that this has been conduct sort of detrimental to the sport of Formula One. I mean, their initials might be T, W, and SW. Just a guess.
Yeah. It's not someone that's married to a Spice Girl that's complaining, I have to say.
Right. No. And it's very weird that the four of them, they just went out together.
Yeah, they were at the premiere for Ferrari last night. They were like hugging at the end of Abu Dhabi. I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. And so anyway, it's a big spicy meatball that's handed out there. And for those of us in the content space, you guys, me, that were wondered, what are we going to do in December?
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
We have our answer now.
Yeah, we have an answer.
You woke up to the Barcelona news no longer being a track in 2026. We're going to be in Madrid to then.
Yeah.
So I was like, whoa, people, we've been a week without the sport.
We got to calm down here. I'm still digesting Logan coming back, which I think was great. Like, that was awesome. But, like, can we like, spread some of this stuff out? Like,
right, we have a long time. We have a long break.
Wait until February. Okay.
Yeah.
Help us content creators out and just
spread
it out a little bit.
Spread out a little bit, sprinkle the stuff here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember last December, it was just, what happened in Brazil and Max versus Checo. And are these two going to be friends anymore? And what's going to happen? And can Christian sort of keep it all together, for next season? Well, I mean, as we're going to talk about it in a minute, it kind of kept that one all together. But man, we are coming out guns blazing for this F1 off season.
I also forgot because it came up that Mattia Binotto was released this time last year. I forgot it was that soon after the season ended. But
it was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. Because, I mean, that was coming from a mile away.
Here we go.
Yeah, again, a guts-to-go situation.
It's like us whenever we know, like, a football coach or a baseball manager is like, it's your time's up.
Yes.
You're on the way.
Rivera, Washington Commanders head coach. Like, it's same kind of situation.
Yeah. Go on your way out. But yes, that was the quick weekly news. Obviously, it's still very early, so.
And
I saw too. I'm sorry to interrupt. I saw, just because Mark, you mentioned it, with Logan keeping a seat. This is the first time in Formula One history that we have the same grid coming back for a second season in a row, which I think it's
that
really
ended
cool.
The season before.
Yeah, that ended the season.
That ended the season before.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. I think it's kind of weird that to me, it's like when you say like, oh, first time in Formula One history, it's like, no, like, come on, it's got to happen before. And then you look and you're like, oh shit, no, it didn't like it hasn't happened before. Like,
it's kind of stunning. And I actually wrote this, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't think we're going to have a similar situation this time next year.
No,
I think it's going to be wildly different from the end of 24 to the start of 25. I mean, I think there's 13 there are some contracts like Lance Stroll. Like we don't know.
You don't
exactly.
know.
His is just as long as Lawrence wants him there, as long as he wants the seat. But like technically, there's 13 drivers under contract through the end of 24.
Yeah,
That's
I made a quick graphic the other day and put their years, and I was like 2024, 2024, 2024.
Yeah,
I
mean, there is now. Look, we all expect a Charles Leclerc deal is coming. Like we expect that one.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the signs. Who knows what's going to happen there? But there's going to be a lot of driver movement next year.
Yeah, it's going to be silly season's going to be longer than the actual season, and the season's already long enough. So
silly season has begun.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's not just the August silly season that we. It's right now. I mean, look, we're hearing rumble. It's obviously Checo. It was a huge story. The man finishes second. He helps Red Bull to their constructors title, and it's like the second he has a slow lap, let alone a bad qualified Saturday, and it's like, oh man, he's got to go. Like. He clinches second in the drivers in Las Vegas, but since he gets passed right at the end, it's like, man, he's just not good enough. It's just like, what does he have to do?
Yeah.
Beat Max, apparently.
Yeah.
That's probably the only way.
Sure.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that for a long time.
Nope.
For anybody to beat Max in any real, like, significant match.
Right.
Oh, no. That's not happening. Until Max retires or is on his way out, but I don't even think he could retire on top. So
yeah, absolutely,
not going anywhere. But yeah, I just look. There's so many. Carlos, I didn't know. I saw with those rumors the other day that he wants 2 years, but they want to give him 1. So
yeah, they want to give him 1 because that would keep him through 25.
Yes.
And whose contract with his current team ends at the end of 25?
Alex Albon.
I know where you're going.
You know where I'm going, Owen.
Oh, Lando, because he was mentioned in the article. Yeah, Lando.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, let's do a 1-year deal. Just 1 year. No, not for any particular reason. No, that's exactly the reason.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why, look, I would not be surprised to see McLaren announce at some point, not immediately, but in the next couple months, a Lando extension.
Oh,
like they want to get ahead.
They'd be stupid if they didn't. I mean,
yeah.
If they're not even going to at least try to extend Lando, that would be stupid of them.
Zach Brown's not letting that kid go.
No. Look, when I talked to Zach a couple weeks ago, he looked me in the eyes like, we have the best driver pairing on the grid.
Yeah.
And I get why he said that. He's like, look, they're young, they're talented. And he said about Lando, look, if we get him the car, he can win a world championship. They're not letting him go. Like, absolutely not. And they're looking at it as maybe not next year, but like if they've still got Lando and Oscar for 25, 26, they can potentially push Red Bull. Like, that's how they're viewing things. They're not going to let Lando walk. Like, absolutely not. And they've got Oscar through 26. Yeah, they're looking at 25, 26, and then 27 when they probably re-up Oscar as well, as that's their 3-year window.
That's
it's
a good window.
Yeah,
exciting time to be a McLaren fan now.
Yeah, I mean, get on board.
It's a lot of potential.
Yeah, there's a ton of potential right there. Look, they obviously figured out what they needed to figure out with the car for this year, so they've got the learnings, as they like to say. I love that phrase, the learnings. They've got that headed into this offseason to develop in their next car. Like, if they get it right out of the gate, unlike this past season, I'm not saying that they'll beat Red Bull, but they could make it really interesting.
I would love that.
Yeah, I would say that Owen keeps saying he hopes they come out at the beginning of the season where they left off and not
and not like last year where they were like, even in preseason tested, like, we kind of missed it here. It'll be a couple of months before we figure this out, but we'll get there eventually.
No, I'll never forget. I bring it up all the time. I'll never forget Owen's rant, one of our first episodes, when they had changed Oscar's steering wheel in the middle of the race because it wasn't powering up. Owen's like, how?
They had the reboot in the middle of the race.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, they're like taking it out, like blowing on the back of it, like it's a Nintendo game cartridge. Like, what are we doing?
He went in a whole IT rant. He was like, I just don't get it. It's the pinnacle of motorsport.
It didn't make any sense to me, but we had that rant already. We won't get into it again.
No. That does bring up a good question, though. Someone, Casper on Twitter, said, who do you think, wrong person. Someone did ask, who do you think will be the first driver to announce a contract besides Leclerc? I think Leclerc is first, but
yeah, I mean, that feels imminent is what the reported is. I mean, I do think Lando is coming, but I think Albon.
Yeah.
Like, if you're Williams, like, okay, you scored 28 points this season. 27 of them came from Albon.
Albon, yeah.
Like, he basically pulled you from 10th to 7th, like, on his own. It's certainly, like, look, Haas made some mistakes. AlphaTauri was slow out of the gate with Nick DeVries and all of that. Alfa Romeo had some stumbles as well. But Albon, like, really delivered for you in a big way. And, of course, with everything heading in the air over at Red Bull and Checo's seat and other potential driver moves, or maybe Sainz departed Ferrari, like, there will be spots. So I think, look, if I'm James Vowles, I think he's been fantastic for them out of the gate. Casey, you and I have talked about this. I think bringing Logan back was great. I'm a big fan of that move. But then I'm walking across the hallway to Alex's office and saying, look, we got to get something done here to keep you here around a little longer. Like, you've got this team from 10th to 7th in a year. But Voss has said from like day one, like, judge me on 3 years, judge us long term. You brought Logan back. I think that's a nice step. But the next step is, okay, bring Albon back, extend him a little bit more. Don't let a potential scenario where Ferrari comes calling, because
they will.
That's a hard thing to say no to if you're Alex Albon.
Yeah.
When the red team comes, like, that's hard to say no to. So get out ahead of that. Because this driver pairing that they've got, I think it's a nice pairing. If Logan takes the steps forward that he needs to next year, this team could 6th, 5th, maybe, if they get the car right and things like that. But I think you've got to get something done with Albon sooner rather than
I'll say, build a team around Alex. Albon.
Yeah,
seems like
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that would be the approach I would take. So, I saw that same question. Like, Lando was where my mind went first, but the more I thought about it, like, probably Albon.
Yeah. It is. I have pull up the graphic I made. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Alpine boys, because they both are off in 2024. I mean, but they also don't have a team principal, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but
I don't know
to see how the investment will work from the new ownership group coming in. I mean, when you've got
some big names,
Rory McIlroy and Travis Kelce, and I heard that Travis has some stuff going on in his personal life, so you might see somebody else in the garage at some point.
Is there something going on with Travis?
I mean, apparently.
What's he up to?
Yeah, I don't know. I was flipping channels Sunday night and I saw somebody was at Lambeau Field. Oh, Simone Biles. That's who.
Oh, yeah, she was.
Yeah. By the way, my daughter, Simone, was extremely conflicted on Sunday night because she was literally wearing her Simone Biles hoodie and she loves Taylor Swift. And she's like, I don't know who to root for now. I don't know who to root for. So that was fun. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what plays out at Alpine this offseason.
Yeah, it will be. They're an interesting one to pay attention to. Yeah. I don't know if there's any. Oh, well, you have the AlphaTauri guys. They're both up in 2024.
Yeah, and again, you got the Checo thing. There is such a
butterfly
effect
yes.
from that second seat at Red Bull. And a lot of people, they describe it, seat of death, second seat of death, death spiral seat, like all the like things that you heard Toto say about being team principal at Ferrari, about Mattia last year. Like, there are some stressful jobs in sports. I think team principal at Ferrari and second seat at Red Bull are perhaps the two most stressful in this sport. And quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, like these are the positions in sports that you probably don't want to have because there's just so much stress that comes with it. And so there's such a butterfly effect possible from Checo on down through the rest of the grid. Because look, let's face it, if he has a bad first lap at preseason testing, the story is going to be written before he's even done.
It'll be like what they did for the when they brought Danny Ricciardo back with Nick DeVries. He was literally in the car for one lap, and they're like, "Yeah, Nick, you're gone. Sorry,
you're done."
It's going to be the same scenario. And again, like, Checo had a great year, but it's just that second seat, like, it's perfection is demanded of it. And you're up against the best driver in the world right now, and Max Verstappen. Like, that's going to be the measuring stick. It's hard for anybody to sort of live up to that.
I agree. Sorry, Gato.
No, I was just kind of like reiterated. Like, I just can't imagine kind of what Mark said, like going into this next season with being Checo and having that on my mind is like the moment I screw up in any sort of facet.
Dr. Helmut Marko is running to the
Yeah.
nearest camera.
Like it's not over, but it's like now I'm just gonna have people on my ass about like everything, and it's the moment he has like a screw up, you know. He goes out.
That was when he kept going out in Q1s and stuff. I was like, one of the last times we went on Q1, I was like, that poor man, because on the internet right away.
To the point where even Max was like, look, with the RB19, like you got to get to Q3. Like that's the bare minimum. And he's right, but for him to like say it, and this was after like he had that like after Miami, like that stretch of weeks where it's just out in Q1, out in Q1, out in Q2, wasn't seeing Q3, and finally Max was like, look, man, you got to get this into Q3. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, when you got, like, Logan Sargent getting ahead of you in Q2, like,
it's not
got to fix it.
Not a good look.
No, not in that Williams car where we all saw what the floor looked like.
Yeah.
If you're getting beat by that car, going back on a recap because we were on them, Daniel Ricciardo and stuff. I am very excited to see how Drive to Survive handles that because Netflix was conveniently there that day when he was in the tire test. So
funny how that works. I mean,
who could have planned that?
I'm not saying that the sport lends itself to some tinfoil hat moments, but that's certainly one.
Yeah.
Just like, the convenience of having Drive to Survive cameras there as this goes down. I mean, it probably won't be the first episode, but the second is going to be the return of Ricciardo. That's going to be the second episode. The first will probably be, the usual coming back to the circuit and preseason tested, and they'll probably do something on Aston and how good they looked.
Fernando.
To set that all up. Episode 2 is Ricciardo. Like,
I mean, that crew loves him. Like the send off he got last year was like so emotional. So that's going to be. I'm excited to see when the trailer comes out. I think it came out this time last year, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm hoping against hope that I get that trailer sent my way sooner rather than later. Because
preview.
Yeah, and can we get in trouble if we post stuff on Threads? I don't know. Like the GTA 6 trailer that dropped.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
I have to find out. I mean,
I forgot. I forgot it happened yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. And then we also mentioned, Liam Lawson, the kid deserves a seat. He
absolutely deserves a seat.
Deserves a seat.
Like, I mean, absolutely 100% deserves a seat. Like, from the moment he got in that car, it was like, okay, well, first of all, it's a step up from what they had in Nick DeVries. Like, it was immediate. Like, he had one practice session in the rain, and you were still like, okay, like, he can handle himself. Got that car into the points, like, did a tremendous job with it. Really started to turn their season around in a sense. Like, that's when the points sort of started to come. He absolutely deserves a seat. And that's one of the fascinating things about this sport is that there's 20. Like, and so with all the driver movement that comes, maybe a spot opens up for him. You mentioned Alpine, like maybe there's a spot there. But yeah, he's shown he deserves it. 100%.
I feel like he also woke Yuki up a little bit too when he came and was performing really well. Because after he was there, you saw Yuki's performance step up big time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is sometimes like in any sport, you make a move, you make a roster change, a position change, bench somebody, whatever. It spurs other people to sort of wake up. And in a sport like this, where it's like, oh man, they just dumped to this guy. How safe am I? He's performing already. I got to step up my game. Yeah, it certainly paid off for them. And so now, again, look, they've got Liam, they've got Daniel, they've got Yuki. Like, they've got 3 drivers right there in-house. Again, it all comes back to that starting butterfly effect of Checo. Like, you've got 3 drivers in-house that can step into that seat. At least on paper, it looks like they could. Obviously, they all have different strengths and weaknesses. But, yeah, that's going to be a huge story next year.
Yeah, that'll be one good to follow. I wrote down some like random topics, like biggest surprise, biggest downfall, most improved. Of like the season. I guess we can start off. I might know the answer to. I guess Owen, you can answer and stuff too. But who would you say was the most improved can easily probably say this one's pretty no-brainer.
Most improved.
Could be a driver, could be a team.
I mean, I think if you go sort of, you could take this a couple of different ways. I think from last year to this year, you could say the most improved team is Williams to go from 10th to 7th. I think that was a big jump. In-season improvement, though, like look at what McLaren did, like over the course of the year. From like, I will never forget Lando telling me before Azerbaijan, look, we're just fighting for points right now. Like that's realistic. And then at the end of the year, talking to Zach, talking to Oscar, they're like, yeah, we're expecting to fight for podiums now. Like that was a absolute sea change for them. So I think from year to year, Williams, I think just in season, McLaren. Aston had a case.
Yeah.
But they sort of, you wonder if they sort of, I don't want to say wasted, but just sort of like overplayed the development hand early. And so like over the rest of the season, like they were still sort of fighting with the same car that they sort of came to the battle with to begin with. In terms of a most improved driver, I could go a couple of different ways. I want to say Leclerc in a sense.
Yes.
Because, and I didn't write this. I wanted to. They talked about it on the F1 TV broadcast, but in the season finale, and those closing laps, it's sort of a grown-up version of him, right? Like thinking big picture, thinking team orders, thinking about how can we get the 3 last points we need. What do I have to do with Checo here? Can I back him up into Russell? Can I let him pass me? Like, what do I have to do to get us to second? Like, I thought that showed tremendous growth from him. And so I was really impressed by it. And I'm not just saying that because I know what Casey's allegiance is. Although I think it might help me get invited back in the future by doing so. But I think there's a case to be made there for him.
Clearly, I think I said he's the most improved. I posted this on Threads ever since. I mean, in the beginning half of the season, he was very open and honest about where he was struggling, how much he did not like the car. And then I'm going to say it, that Singapore win for Carlos, I think they made those upgrades and the season totally
There were 2 people on the grid that could not wait for the checkered flag at Yas Marina, Leclerc and Hamilton. Because they were like, take these 2 cars and dump them in the nearest body of water. I don't want to see them ever again. But you're right, Casey. Like Leclerc, like he did not like that car all season. Like just didn't like it. Was fighting it. They were fighting so many different issues with that SF23. But he fought till the last turn of the season to get that team to second. I thought that was huge.
Yeah, as we talked about, I said it was like you saw the team leader come out in him, but I do agree it was like a more mature, grown up.
Yeah,
even from last year. Like I feel like because last year he was more focused on himself getting P2 in the drivers' championship. Not because he didn't care, but they were in a better spot. But yeah, this year was definitely impressive. I mean, not to gloat. I mean, even his Vegas drive, that last few laps with Checo. Poor Checo was on the downfall, both Brazil and Vegas. Yeah. Last lap overtake, but yeah, even that, like he could see Checo losing it in different corners, and he just waited patiently, and then
he didn't force it. Like this is a sport that sometimes rewards impatience, but he was patient on that race, and it was very impressive.
Yeah, I think that moment in Abu Dhabi with Leclerc getting on the radio and saying, "What can I do to help the team?" Essentially.
Literally gave a whole dissertation in the radio. I was like, what the hell?
Which, by the way, you're driving a very fast car. Very like
focus.
Just a little focus. Like I think it was Russell they had it on board with. Oh no, maybe it was Leclerc too, where like in the corners they'd like shut up for a second. And then the second they get even the slightest straight, they're like right back into their train of thought. And I'm like, I can't do that on the Xbox, man.
There's a radio transcript where he literally is talking and then he goes, "Hold on, I'm going into a corner." Yeah. Stops talking, takes the corner, comes out and he goes, "Okay, as I was saying," and then jumps into it. But yeah, those last couple laps from him at Abu Dhabi and gotta be like a standout moment. And I think my favorite moment of this season, because I'm actively watching that and I'm like, this is the most like blatant example of like heads up racing and like leadership racing I've ever seen. And I know I haven't been watching F1 for long, but still the fact that he gets on the radio and kind of like Casey said, it almost gives this like dissertation and this novel of just like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where Perez is at. What do I have to do with to do all this? I'll slow down to give him a tow, like all this stuff. And I was just like, this is such a good like mindset to have of like, I'm putting the team first. And it to me, it solidifies the moment of like, I can understand why people, especially Ferrari fans, love him so much.
Yeah.
Like for this team, you know, like I get it now, you know.
I mean, you know, it meant a lot when Toto even said at the end, he was like, yeah, that was smart racing. I mean, because he wanted to get in front of George. You want to let Checo pass so there was no battle. So even Toto to say that, I mean, obviously if Mercedes ended up winning, it could have been a different story if they didn't, but we're not winning.
I thought it was a great moment just from a sports perspective, just from a competition perspective. It was a great moment to, you know, see the growth from Leclerc. I thought it was a great moment for F1.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I think, you know, we get done with the season, and obviously the top line story is Max pretty much won everything, right? Like, I was on a radio show with Coach Valvano in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm on with every once in a while, and obviously he's talking mostly about football and all that stuff. But he was asking me some F1 questions, and he got a text in from a listener. It was like, "Is every episode of Drive to Survive like every race with Max winning?" Like, everybody just, you know, they think F1 right now, and it's just Verstappen's winning everything, Red Bull's winning everything. It must be boring. If your eyes are only at the front, yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah.
But this was a great moment for the sport because it showed that, like, no, P2, P3. There were fights throughout the entire field in that last race. The fight for 2, the fight for 4, the fight for 7. There were fascinating battles playing out the entire grid this entire season. And I thought that, like, put into crystal clear focus, like, what it takes to win, what it takes to finish second, and how much that matters to teams. Because, hey, Mercedes can say we were the best team, not Red Bull, which counts for something. I think. And Ferrari wanted that. That counts for something this year. So I thought it was a great moment for Leclerc, a great moment for the sport.
I even posted, not to bring her up again, but Simone Biles. I said it's like when gymnasts know they're competing against Simone Biles, they know they're fighting for second. They're not getting first. Like, it's just a known thing. I have to read the article some more, but a follower on Threads posted a Planet F1, and it said they posted about alternate standings throughout the season and shows if it was without Red Bull and how intense and like crazy of a season would have been because of the different finishes and stuff throughout. So I have to go back and read that. But yeah. Owen, I'm shocked you said that Leclerc thing was your favorite and not Lando leading at Silverstone at the start.
I will definitely, I think, don't get me wrong, that was a great moment, and that was definitely like, you know, it lent itself to the like, holy shit, is this where he's gonna get it done, get his first win, like all this stuff. But there's something like when I think, this might be recency bias, but when I think about the F1 season, that is the first moment that pops into my head right now. And like I said, that could just be because, you know, Abu Dhabi was 2 weeks ago, you know, whatever it was, but still, like, and kind of what Mark said, that's such a good moment for the sport. And it's like, yes, Max is winning everything. And yes, you know, like, you know, we've said it before, Casey, we've fallen into the trap of at the beginning of this year, we're like, holy crap, this is boring. Like, Max is winning everything. He's leading by 20 seconds. This is so brutal to watch. But now it's, you know, we kind of get it and we know, and just seeing the mindset that Leclerc was in and how he just analyzed that moment and was just like, this is what I know it takes for us to get to second place, and I want to give the team that. Like, that just sticks out in my head, and that's why I love it. Now, don't get me wrong, the moment Lando Norris gets his first race win, that vaults to the top. Mind, and that will take over it. But
that's the minute Owen joins Threads, when Lando gets his first win.
Yeah, there you go.
No, you want to be on Threads that beforehand, right? So you can lay the groundwork. And Owen, Casey will back me up here. There are a lot of Lando.
There are a lot of Lando. We have a lot of Lando fans that follow it. We have a lot.
There was one day, Casey, you were busy, and I was posting on Threads for like qualifying. And I was like, oh, I mentioned something about Lando, and like immediately people are like, he's so good, or like 15 something likes, and that was when I first realized, I was like, damn, I was like, Casey has a lot of fun on Threads, like talking to people. But
yeah, we both do.
Yep.
there are a lot of Lando fans on Threads. I am I'm when he gets his first win, maybe that's when I'll join.
No, you can't join that. You have to join before. The hat. Think of the hat.
The hat. That's right.
I would say, to bring up like the biggest surprise, I'm gonna say Vegas was the biggest surprise. because it was such a wild the race. Vegas the race. Biggest surprise.
I could see that because there was like
so much backlash.
It did not get off to a good start.
No,
it did not get off to a good start. I mean, going into it, who thought? Did anybody think deserts get cold at night? Like,
I mean,
they completely didn't even consider that apparently. And then you have the disaster that was FP1. Sainz's car gets destroyed, gets obliterated, and they still imposed a penalty. And as we learned today, it was Toto who was behind it, saying like,
"Oh yeah,
I was totally about it." And again, tinfoil hat theory. Like, it's interesting that all this Toto stuff is coming out now in the wake of that becoming knowledge. So that's always fun.
Ooh, maybe it's Fred that's leaking all this info.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. He's like, "Oh, so it was you, huh?"
Say that.
Right. By the way, let me pick up my phone here because I got the FIA's president in my contacts here.
Excuse me.
Let me just pick up the phone. But the race itself was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I think there were 3 moments for me, and there were so many this season, but there were like a top 3 moments for me. One was Abu Dhabi. I thought it was just great. Like, even though for all the reasons we talked about, it was great. I think the Vegas race was fantastic. The race itself, like, it was a great surprise. I think Casey's point about it being the biggest surprise was huge. And Monaco qualifying.
Oh,
because Monaco qualified was the moment, and I wrote this a couple of weeks ago, where Verstappen was like, he was tested. Like, you had Ocon, you had Alonso, who posted really good times right ahead of him, and he had to put in that banner of a quali lap to get pole. And he even said, "Look, I was like millimeters away from losing it." He put everything he had into that qualifying lap. And say what you want about Verstappen and the ability with the RB19, how great a car it is. He had to put in that lap. Like, those were the 3 standout moments to me. But I 100% agree. The biggest surprise, like Vegas, the race. It was great.
Vegas, we said it when we did our like Vegas recap case. It was like the meme of like the football player standing there.
Yeah, he's had us in the first half.
They had us in the first half because like Mark, you're right. Like when FP1, I mean, I'm not gonna forget this. When FP1 had all the chaos and then FP2 was delayed, all that such and everything. Casey texted me in the morning. Was like, "This is what happened," all this stuff, and I'm like, My first thought was, well, this is how we expected it to go. Like, this is what we thought it was going to happen, and then it was like, okay, FP3, kind of mundane qualifying, run of the mill, and the race was great, but it was just like nothing crazy happened. It was like, oh wow, like this is a pleasant surprise. Like,
seeing as this is a holiday season, I feel it's appropriate to make this comparison. Verstappen was the Grinch that week.
Oh, he was on another level.
Was just destroyed it from jump. He's like, "This is a spectacle." We're standing there like idiots for those driver introductions. We did get the heartwarming Nico and Alonso moment though, which I had to write about when Hulkenberg was waiting to get introduced. And Alonso banged on the glass.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, giving a little heart sign.
I
was just like, everybody needs a Fernando Alonso in their corner. I mean, that was tremendous. But the entire week, Verstappen's heart was so tiny. He hated everything. And then that race, he's like, this was awesome.
He's singing Elvis on the last lap.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, where did this come from? But yeah, he was the Grinch. His heart grew 3 sizes that night.
Every quote that came out from him, I was like, Max, you do not want to be there
at all. And the quotes are going to be sitting the same next year, though.
Oh,
because absolutely. I mean, that a triple header to close it out.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
That's gonna be brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I had some people inside F1 with teams and other people like past couple of weeks, man. Like, yeah, I've been sick ever since. Like, we're all sick. Like Ocon everybody was sick. Russell couldn't stop coughing.
No, he was hacking a lung.
I felt so bad for him on the podium.
He couldn't breathe. I mean,
not even the podium. It was the post-race interview. He was literally cracking up, and they were just laughing at him. Max and Charles was laughing at him.
Are you okay, man? Like, he couldn't breathe. They were all so sick.
Yeah.
Ocon was like, "We haven't seen the sun in 7 days." Like, this, man,
that's God.
I'll never forget with FP1 in Vegas. Once we both were watching it, and Owen goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to bed." I said, "Yeah, me too." So then I kept waking up in the middle of the night to see what was happening. So then I get up and I'm like, "Oh, FP2 is starting now." I was like, "Oh, okay." I text Owen. He goes, "Wait, what?" I said, "Yeah, it's just ending." I was like, I got up for work. I was able to watch.
It made no sense in my head, and I was like, "What are you talking?" Like,
Yeah.
So they're driving in the middle of the night. I was like, yes. It's like, yes.
I mean,
They did.
could have had breakfast on the East Coast watching it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I woke up and I was like, oh, well, I can get ready for work and watch this. I was like,
Yeah.
that's both worlds. Okay.
yeah, I was working from home that day. I literally sat down on my desk and put it on my iPad. I'm like, cool.
I do wonder if they tweak the time in a bit next
I
year.
hope.
I mean,
That was
I
my
know-
biggest issue.
yeah.
I hated the time.
The visuals were great.
Yeah,
Like, going down the Vegas Strip with all the neon, like the visuals were great.
But
Yeah.
like
gotta
when you
tweak
think about the
just
time
a
of the
bit.
year, it's dark
Yeah.
at like 5:00. So
Yeah, you can set that thing off at 7 p.m.
Mhm.
local time. Just kick it up a couple of hours.
then maybe it's not freezing and the tires are going to be.
Yeah, I mean they were all. I mean it ended up okay-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean if it's colder next year, it could be the chaos we thought.
Yeah, because they announced the sprint schedule for next year today. I forgot stuff's like moving around because China's earlier,
Yeah.
Yeah.
cars later. Thank God, so they're not going to be passing out in the cars. That's
But
like
they
one
still
more.
might be because that's part of the like triple header to end it, right?
Oh yes, it is.
Yeah, because I think it's Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi to close it out. There's like 2 triple headers.
Yeah, because
And then
there's technically like a fall break this year on top of the like normal
Yeah.
summer break because there's that many
Yeah.
races back to back.
Yeah, it's Vegas. Vegas is November 21st to 23rd. Qatar is November 29th to December 1st, and then Abu Dhabi is December 6th to the 8th.
Yeah.
That's also too like that.
It's a lot of traveling.
That's a lot. That's a shit ton of traveling.
Well, even
Like-
just them going from Vegas to Abu Dhabi looked like that was
Yeah.
not smart.
No,
Let me
no,
see
it
if I can
wasn't.
find flights from Vegas.
Are you going?
to Qatar. Oh, not on that flight.
No.
No chance.
No. So people on threads are convincing me to go to Montreal.
I've heard that Montreal is fun. I had some friends that went up to there.
I would love to go. It's not that expensive. It was not
Yeah.
bad. If you get tickets now, it's not that bad. And like take train, could drive. Owen?
Listen, if I'm not getting on a plane, I'm down.
I said to Dad, that's when we could get Dad to go to because he loves Canada. He wishes he was Canadian. Okay, moving on. I was going to say biggest downfall, but we kind of mentioned it. I guess you could say Aston Martin was maybe the biggest downfall.
Yeah. I mean, just because they came
Why?
out so hard to start the year and then just sort of faded. Not that we were expected much for them, but 10th is kind of disappointing for Haas, I think. Like,
Yes. Especially
they
like 2 senior like drivers with pretty good amount of experience. I would
and they were great on Saturdays, especially Nico. Like they had 1 lap pace. I mean, there was a brief glimmer in time where Nico was on the top 3
Oh
in
yeah.
Canada before. I was so excited. Like I had done the live quali blog. I was so excited. People were actually reading it, which was fun too. That's always nice to see. And then
Yeah.
my wife and I went for a walk, and my phone blows up, and it's just Nico Hulkenberg under investigation for passing under yellow or whatever it was. I'm like, oh
No.
no! And before our walk even ended, it's like, yeah, here's the
Yeah.
penalty. You gotta be kidding me. Also, this CBS sitcom with
Oh
Gunther,
yes.
like where are we
Oh.
at, man? Like.
The Office style sitcom. It's gonna be.
Like, are we gonna get it sort of like he's like Jim Halpert, like staring into the camera, like Gunther? Like, I know he's just like a producer or something, but I don't know how to feel about this.
I know.
I love him, but I don't know.
Also, like, can it be on Paramount Plus? So then it can be like he can curse as much as Gunther does because I feel like you can't have it on CBS and not have.
I mean, if you're gonna have a Gunther Steiner,
You have to let him curse.
Yeah,
It's gonna be on like HBO or whatever we call it now, Max. Like, you can't have it on broadcast network.
No.
Like,
You gotta let him run his mouth.
unless you can sneak it by the censors, because folk smash isn't exactly one of the 7 banned words. So you can
True.
sneak around it that way. That's the old
Right.
lawyer in me coming out. What can I say? Like, I'm trying to find a loophole here to get my boy on broadcast television.
Also, who's gonna play a Gunther Steiner inspired team principal? Trying to think who's like in that kind of TV world. No one. It'll probably be someone random new.
I'm trying to think.
Chris Pratt.
No.
I don't know. Also, while we're thinking about this, I did look it up, and a one-stop flight from Las Vegas to Qatar, shortest amount of time I'm seeing right here, 21 hours and 10 minutes.
That's gross.
That's disgusting.
It's a full day.
Longest I'm seeing, 34 hours.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, no.
I'm good. 34 minutes in a plane, and I start to get antsy. I'm not the world's best flyer.
I wouldn't not either.
Say that right now. It takes a lot for me to get on a plane. I mean, we went to London years ago before kids, and my wife's a similar. Like, we both had bad flight experiences and stuff. It takes a lot for us to get on a plane, and so we took an overnight flight, and red wine was what got us through that flight. But it got to the point where this older gentleman who was one of the flight attendants from British Airways was like, "Do you guys really want more wine?" And we're like, "Absolutely.
Yes, please.
We certainly do." He's like, "Why? It's the middle of the night. Everybody else is sleeping." I'm like, "Look, we're just not great flyers." And he's like, "And you really think red wine's the answer?" And literally I was about to like come at this guy's throat. I'm like, I'm 45,000 feet above the ocean right now in a little cylinder tube that's been put on its side and just thrown over the ocean. Like, whatever it takes to get me to London right now and not into jail is what I'm going to do, buddy. Like, I was this close to doing it. And look, I'm like, even just like flying from like DC to Indianapolis for the combine or something, like I just don't like it. Like, I get, it was the day before I was flying out to the combine last February, and I was just like pacing this house for like 12 hours for like a 45-minute flight. And like for everybody else, it's like no big deal. But like the thought of 31 hours in an airplane, I'm nauseous just sitting here thinking about it. So yeah,
that's a no-no for me. But I can't imagine doing that flight after you just raced, and then in 3 days, you're back in the car driving again.
I mean, I have to think that you're just exhausted from it.
Yeah.
That you're just out the entire time.
Yeah.
And I mean,
the minute.
It's probably though, like, you know, we tend to think of it from the driver's perspective, the team members though.
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's much tougher for them. I mean, Max is on his private jet in his simulator, and he's just driving the entire time. Like, that's what he's doing, because that's what he's told us he does. But if you're like, you know, a team member or something like that, or support staff, like, that's a really tough schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the young son heroes, because they're getting there before the drivers get there, so they can set everything up.
Yeah. I mean, we all see the track walks where they arrive, and you know, it's Wednesday afternoon. Everybody else has been there for a couple of days already.
Yeah.
Like, working hard. So
well, if you even think about this schedule, I just saw from like when drivers posting and stuff, it was before like Brazil and Mexico, that stint. Some of them were away for like 6 weeks. Only a very few went home. I can't think of that break. It was like that 1 week, very few of them went home. Some went away. I think Bottas was riding a bike somewhere, but like, it was, they were away for like.
Bottas was in the Dominican. Okay.
Oh yes, he was.
When I interviewed him, I was like, man, this is a really cool background. I expected him to be at like, because I knew he was staying sort of in this general area because of the schedule. I'm like looking at the backdrop. I'm like, that's kind of cool. That's not what I expected. I get done. I didn't ask him about it. And then I like go on his socials, and he's like having a great time in the Dominican. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, between that and then 2 days later announcing the Bottas 2024 calendar that I didn't get to know about and ask him about, man, I was robbed of what could have been an awesome interview.
Yeah, and the helmet, he couldn't tell you anything about his helmet for Vegas.
Tell you anything about the helmet, the livery. And I had people at Vox saying, like, he's been showing us the peach a little bit more than we expect. Like, you got to ask him about that. And so I had it on the list of questions, like, hey, you feel pretty comfortable on the socials showing that side of yourself, but I didn't get to it in time. And then he drops that count. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. But yeah, he was in the Dominican. It was great.
He raised a boatload of money for that calendar.
Over 150,000.
Mm-hmm.
And my order of 35 calendars has yet to go through. So that
My 35 calendar order.
everybody I know is getting one for
Well,
Christmas.
That would make sense because I got you beat by like 5 calendars. Why it's not going through?
They're wondering when they'll lie.
Like, why did we just get 75 calendar orders from the East Coast? What is happening?
What the
Just
hell?
two
What the hell
people.
is going on?
It's for our mom works for like a prostate cancer doctor and stuff. We're giving it to her so you can hand them out to the patients.
That's tremendous.
That would have been so good.
I know.
That would have been hilarious. Oh, damn it! Why didn't we
And I
think
know
of that?
you guys saw the like art show studio way.
Yes.
That
So
was
good.
hilarious. Like, I don't know how they kept it together. Like, it was so funny.
You get him to play Gunther on the TV show because he was deadpan
Yeah.
the entire time about three.
The artist was even better.
Yeah.
He was just like talking about like, you know, getting into his mental state when he was posing for some of these. I'm like, this is really well done.
The best was people when he like posted the one video recently of him like behind the scenes making it. People were like, I've seen Valtteri Bottas's ass way too much on my social media recently.
Well, apparently the people that were in that show like didn't know what they were getting into.
Oh,
What?
Yeah. I read this somewhere. I'll have to try to find it, but like I think it was Valtteri did an interview where he's like, yeah, we didn't tell these people what they were going to see. We told them they were coming to an art unveiling. And so we wanted to get like genuine reactions from them. Imagine if you're just like chilling somewhere and you're like, hey, do you want to come to an art show? And you're like, yeah, great.
yeah.
And then you get 12 months of Valtteri Bottas' butt. Like,
And you have no clue who he
you
is.
have no clue who he is. I mean, maybe some of them knew, but probably most didn't.
I would have, if I was in there, I legit probably would have screamed. They would have had a retake because I would have
Yeah.
had the worst reaction.
You're going to have to dial it back. Take the 12 down to a 10 at least.
I would love to know like how involved Tiffany was because I feel like she had her hand in there since she helps with all of his helmets. So I would love to, that'd be.
Yeah.
You know she played a part in it.
Oh, absolutely.
She
I mean, for his helmet then to have a picture on there, knowing him, that'll be next season.
He's going to roll it to Vegas with all 12 of them on the helmet.
Oh my god.
And then he'll auction the helmet off. For
Yeah, there you go, and
$2
raise even
million.
more money.
That's his next Movember thing. There you go.
There you go.
That's
I like it.
Valtteri, just
If
hit
you're
us up when you do this. We know you're listening. We know you're listening. So just reach out.
Yeah, it's not if you're listening. It's we know you're listening.
We know you're listening.
Sorry, yes, let me speak into it existence.
10-minute excerpt of your ass.
I'm gonna clip this entire thing. Speaking of not to change subjects to, I guess it's kind of boring.
Yeah, where are you going to go from here, Casey?
Well, we're talking about Valtteri Bottas, so it's going to go to Alfa Romeo since they're no longer going to be called Alfa Romeo. I felt like that kind of was slipped in at the very last minute, Abu Dhabi. It was like, oh, and by the way, they posted this whole video, had Leclerc in it, all the past drivers. When I saw the poster, I was like, why is Kimi in this picture? Why is Leclerc? I didn't even like read the caption. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, Sauber before they become Audi. Yeah, sort of the end of an era there.
Yeah.
But they're living with Vegas though to close out the year. I thought was great.
Yes.
Oh, it was so cool.
good.
Listening to Crofty though, he was so freaking confused. He was like, "Is that the Mercedes or is that the Alpha?"
He was
Mercedes.
so confused.
He hated life.
Yeah.
He wasn't the only one. I mean, I was sitting there watching the race and I'm staring at a car and I'm like, I don't know who this is. Right.
We had the zebra-looking AlphaTauri, which also was changing names.
Yeah. Has that been confirmed as Racing Bulls? Is it just that's expected that it's going to?
Yes, because people found the trademarks already like purchased or whatever, figured out, and the logo's already figured out. So I think it really is going to be Racing Bulls, which sucks.
Which doesn't make sense because Red Bull has 2 bulls and there's just Red Bull, and then
you're
gonna have Racing Bulls with just 1 bull. Like it's like, why do we drive on parkways and park on driveways? Kind of situation. Like, what are we doing?
Yep.
No, and I love how they like made a big thing that it was going to be announced during, I think it was during COTA, and then everyone weeks later people were like, "Wait, what happened to the name change?" Because it was supposed to come out.
Well, I forgot. I don't know. Just didn't get to it, I guess.
I wish they went with Adidas. They could have had some sick liveries for Adidas.
Adidas would have been so cool.
Someone on Threads mocked up. I'm drawing a blank. I think their dirty side of the track. They mocked up cool looking liveries between when it was the Hugo Boss or Adidas, and like they made the Adidas look like the tracksuit. So it was sick with like stripes.
That would be really cool. Like they could have done so much creative stuff with that. Now
Yeah.
you're just going to get basically a blue and white Red Bull.
Yeah, boring.
Sugar-free Red Bull.
Yep.
Going back to Owen's favorite, McLaren, when they announced that they stole Monster from Mercedes, but not Lewis Hamilton. Then someone put out, I forget what year it was it 2014? They had like no sponsors or in the past, and now the fact of how many they have now, they have like no open space on that car for ads. Which is impressive.
They've done a really good job sort of business activation wise. You know, and a lot of other teams are trying to follow what they're doing. McLaren's done a lot here in the States too. That they're really trying to get ahead of that, and a lot of teams are starting to follow that too.
Yeah,
I know Red Bull unveiled the RB19 in New York City last February. It wouldn't surprise me if more teams have stateside. A lot of them will do it at their factory, but it wouldn't surprise me if you see a couple of teams decide, hey, we'll do what Red Bull did, and we'll do it in Miami or New York City, or you might see a Vegas one.
Well, it could be like Red Bull. Red Bull could be in Vegas when they were hanging the car from the club ceiling.
Yeah.
A special livery. I could see McLaren having a U.S. based one.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
No, especially because like their merch is Mitchell and Ness or Mitchell Ness. Like, yeah, they have a lot of.
You know, they did the Jack Daniels thing with their funny little like driving to Vegas kind of thing. That was really funny. It wouldn't surprise me if they did something. In Nashville even.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Because I mean, Red Bull did some stuff in Chicago and Nashville as well, like in the lead up to the Vegas race. You know, that obviously we all know the sport wants more of a tie-in here in the States. It's part of the reason we got 2 sprint races here in the States.
Yeah,
they want 3, days of racing at both Miami and Coda. You know, that's a big reason why.
Miami will be interesting for a sprint race. I'll be interested to see. I feel like people aren't excited for that one, but
no, but I mean, we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah,
I like what the hell was I got? Oh, for McLaren with Monster Energy, like, because Casey, you kind of said like with the amount of sponsors that they have now, like they could definitely get rid of some.
No, I'm sure some
sponsors too. Just because of Monster Energy, but I have to bring it up. And Casey, you'll probably know what I'm talking about in like 2 seconds.
Oh, no.
This goes back to video games.
Oh, yeah. Let me leave.
So, Lando Norris is doing a collaboration with Spider-Man 2, the video game, and he's designing a suit. I would love, don't even get me started on it, to see a, collaboration for a McLaren livery with Spider-Man 2 next year. Oh, my God.
And
that would be so
he's going to come out in a Spider-Man racing suit next year, isn't he?
Totally.
That would be, if he came out with a racing suit, even if it was like just Spider-Man in general, or like the suit that he designed in the game, that would be really cool. Because he said for the game suit, like, it's going to have a racing helmet and everything on it. So that would be super fucking cool. I don't like making guarantees. I guarantee that happens. Yeah.
And then you see Esteban Ocon in the corner, who's the biggest Spider-Man Marvel comic book fan, crying.
I
mean, dude, your boss is Deadpool, so
I mean, he'll be Deadpool, so he already had the helmet.
He already did the Deadpool one, and Ryan Reynolds loved it. So
he was so happy with it.
Anything to make the bosses happy.
Oh yeah, Esteban knew what he was doing.
Exactly. It's like if you're gonna get rid of somebody, get rid of that guy, not me.
Yeah, Esteban. Yeah, you can get rid of Pierre. Not really even like him, but yeah. Anything else?
Any other questions from threads?
Let me look back.
I do want to talk about the one thing that I wrote down, and I feel like it's worth mentioning, even though I feel like we've talked about it all season. Max officially passing the 1,000 laps led record. I mean, even just thinking about that in general is nuts to think about. It's because when you, I don't know, I was doing the math the other day in my head because I was like, all right, he's led 1,000 laps, and then I was like, all right, that makes sense. He won a lot of races. He's led for most of the races, all this stuff. But then you think about it, and you're like, it's not like races are 100-something laps, so it's not 10 races. That's all he's got to do. It's sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 72, sometimes it's 60 something. And it's just like adding up, like when you think of it
How
that
many?
way, it really kind of settles in like, holy shit, like just like how much he has led and has dominated this entire season. So I thought it was at least worth talking about. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we saw something special this year. And we had a series at SB Nation in November about game changers. We wrote about a bunch of different figures, Shohei Ohtani, Caitlin Clark, and people all over the spectrum of sports. And I wrote about Max because he was fantastic in 22. Dominant, brilliant. He was better this year. Like, he was just better this year. I mean, you think about the records he set, like to become, like you said, Owen, the first driver to lead 1,000 laps. Like, I don't know the math, but that feels like what, like 85, 90% of the season he was up front. Like,
yeah,
that's impressive. To break Ascari's record in terms of Grand Prix percentage victories, like, and to do it
at
with
his age,
rating in hand, like, it's just, he was absolutely brilliant this year. And yes, people will say, well, the RB19, it was the best car on the grid, and it absolutely was. But look at what Checo did. Like, Checo didn't do that. Like,
No.
right.
There's a difference. You're talking about the 20 best drivers in the world in the sport, and there's just a massive gap between Max and everybody else right now. And yes, some of it's the car, but a lot of it is him. And that's why that Monaco moment stands out to me, because that was the moment his feet were held to the fire, and he delivered. I mean, as he's done so many times before, even in Vegas, where it's like, it's kind of shaky this week. It doesn't look like, we don't know. It's a voyage of discovery for everybody. Bang on weekend for him. It didn't matter. Like, just time and time again. And it's why it's one of those things. Like, I can't say it's true, but I think he's a robot. Like, because what he's doing is like,
absolutely.
It's just, you can't comprehend it. Like, like we say in sports, like football, baseball, whatever, video game numbers. These are video game numbers he's putting up. It's like when I get done here and throw on F123, Owen puts on F123, and we set all the sliders to easy, and it's the easiest mode possible. And you can literally like pinball your way down the track. It's like, yeah, woo, I'm winning everything. He's doing it for real.
Yeah.
Like, with no sliders, no bumpers. He's doing it for real. And it's extremely impressive.
I did just find, I like quickly Googled it because I wanted to look it up. So he led 1,003 laps out of 1,325. So I did the quick math. The percentage is lower than I thought it was, but it's still disgustingly high. He led 75% of the season.
That's disgusting.
That is absurd.
Yeah. Like,
absurd.
And it's literally Singapore. That's when he didn't lead. It's Singapore.
That's it. That's where he lost most of it. But it's like, but then you look at the previous record holder, who is Sebastian Vettel in 2011. He led 739. Max shattered this record by like 250 something laps. And it's just, it's disgusting to think about.
No way.
How many races? I'm just looking it up. How many races were in that year?
But 75% of this season, Max Verstappen.
I mean, there was still 19 races in 2011.
Oh, wow.
But that's still like,
I mean, so yeah, Verstappen had a couple of more races to work with, but it's not like, Ascari's record in 1952 when there were 8 races. Like, it's not like this kind of situation.
It's just, God, yeah. Disgusting. 75.7% of the season, Max Verstappen was listed as number 1 on the leaderboard.
And that stupid one-off weekend in Singapore. He could have had a perfect season.
Well, let's look at it this way. Now he has something to work towards next year, right? Like,
True.
In the back of his mind, he's thinking, I should have led 80% of the laps this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We should have swept the season. I should have swept the season. Like that's how he works. And you often think, sports, to become great, you have to be a little bit insane. Like, I think that's fair to say. Michael Jordan still talks about getting cut from his high school basketball team. Tom Brady still talks about like getting drafted 199 overall. You got to have that little thing that makes you great for sports, maybe not great for the rest of the planet. Like, that's what Verstappen's got too. Like that ability to find sort of inspiration or motivation, even when you're the best in the world at what you do, it's what drives him to be great. It's what's going to drive him next year. And it's what drove Hamilton, Vettel and everybody that's come before. But this is what he's going to point to. He's going to say, I should have won all the races, or I should have led all the laps, and I'll do that next year.
Then he really must put the words out to the Dutch national anthem, because if he wins everything next year, we're going to be singing it all.
I love seeing all the, first of all, Spotify, man. I have friends that work there, buddy. To lay everybody off the way you did after that week of Spotify Wrapped.
Oh, did they lay a bunch of people off?
Yeah, they just had another.
17% of the company.
Yep.
1,500 people.
Yeah. That sucks.
And I know they're sort of kind of working on European time, but they send out the email at 1 a.m. Sunday morning here on the East Coast. And I have people that work there. Somebody was like, yeah, I just submitted my column at 1 a.m. and I checked my email before going to bed.
And there's see ya.
But I loved all the memes though of Spotify Wrapped. Yeah. You listen to the Dutch national anthem, 700 million minutes this year. Those were funny.
We don't even have Spotify, and I was like, I have to make one. I was like, it's too good not to make it.
It was so
too easy. I saw someone else made one. It was like, you've listened to Charlotte Leclerc say it's like this, how many hundreds of times in one season? There was so many.
Oh, Casey, to see yours with Miami and Australia with Charles Assans on there.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That was great.
I'm not surprised. We do also have one other question. It's one I started to read earlier. They asked, who do you think is going to build, this is kind of looking forward, build/upgrade to a surprisingly good car for 2024?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That was Casper.
Yeah, that's a great question. Williams. Because they'll have more money to build a better floor than the one they rolled out this year. Like, anything's going to be an improvement on that thing. I mean,
they won't be penny pinching this year.
Yeah, they won't be. They'll have more money spent. I think Williams is an option there. I think McLaren too, just because they figured so much stuff out. And like Zach said when I talked to him, like, look, they restructured their leadership team at the start of the year. They got the right people in places. They got the right team to develop the car, to upgrade the car, which badly needed them. I think they'll be in a better position next year. I am curious what Mercedes does. Because they basically said, like, look, it's a complete tear down rebuild situation. So, do they go back to zero pods? I doubt it, but I'm very curious to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. I mean, my obvious choice is also Ferrari, not to surprise, but
that's what I was gonna say.
They're a good choice too.
Yeah, I mean, the rumors coming out that they're going more with Leclerc. I think. They said it's basically done, but I am excited to see a car fully under Fred, because the last one was still Mattia, so I'm excited fully under Fred, and see where it goes. I mean, they're also making changes in leadership. I think, they have a couple Red Bull people. I'm excited. Hopefully,
we're gonna see 10 Red Bulls on the grid next year, 10 RB19s, or maybe not 9 RB19s and 1 RB20. That's what.
Well, I saw an article one time that it was like. It basically said, like, AlphaTauri next year is going to get the RB19s from this year. Like,
I thought so.
Like, Red Bull's just going to be like, here's our hand-me-downs. Like, and I was like, what is that going to even mean? Are we all of a sudden just going to see AlphaTauri, like, dominating? Like, it's literally going to be Red Bull, AlphaTauri.
Yeah, but if you think about it, people are going to be – the rest of the teams are going up. Alpha's staying where Red Bull is here. So you would think – everyone's ahead.
Hope,
No, you'll see Yuki on the podium. Come on, I'll see. I would love if Yuki was on the podium.
A Max Daniel Yuki podium.
It's fantastic.
Yuki's happening for sure.
Yeah.
And then what I want after that is the Drive to Survive clip of Yuki cursing for once, finally, for a good reason.
For a good reason.
And not like something bad happened and he's just screaming into
It's an excited yell.
Yeah. That's I'll take that. That's what I want to happen.
Yeah. I would say Aston Martin, but I don't really have hope in Aston Martin.
Yeah. I mean, I just such a good start, but they just missed the mid-season window.
Yeah.
And it does make me wonder, again, did they just sort of go all in at the start and they got it right, but then they didn't have enough, testing time, et cetera, to get the upgrades that they needed. And maybe now they know, okay, well, we don't have to go all in at the start. We can balance this out a little bit better. But I think the biggest thing for them was Fernando seems all in. Like,
yeah, he does seem all
his best season since I think 13. Like, he seems all in. That's going to be huge for them going forward.
I also, this is F1 Academy related. I like how they're handling F1 Academy there with Jessica and stuff and making her the mentor and everything. Which I'm excited to be able to watch all of their races next year.
Yeah, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they're doing that. I like the fact that they're tying in the teams on the grid as well. I think it's huge for the sport. I mean, just generally. And it's just great to see, I saw an article today that like viewership of women's sports general has exploded this past year. And you're seeing it, I think the NCAA women's basketball tournament with, LSU and Iowa was fascinating to watch. Obviously, we get the Olympics this year as well, so you're going to see more of that. But there's a huge thirst for women's sports. People want to watch it. If you give people the opportunity to watch women's sports, people will tune in. And I think F1 with the F1 Academy, making sure people can watch this is huge for this sport.
Which I love McLaren's pick too. She's a great driver, Bianca, but she's perfect for that team because she's huge on social media. Every driver in McLaren's huge on social media, not just Formula One. But yeah, I think I'm excited to watch the races. Yeah. It was a nice little. Their season finale was a Coda. Was it Coda when they were on F1 TV? And their format's just interesting because it's like small little races throughout the whole weekend. It was interesting to see. But yeah. Anything? I don't have anything else. That was our last question. Someone said that they're poking them to do something, and it was when it said like season finished on the F1 app. Owen.
Oh yeah, Mark. What?
I'm just gonna keep reminding you, this is yours.
I don't doubt that you won't. I just can't. I can't leave my 90 people on Twitter.
You can leave. You could be on both because I was doing both before you took over Twitter or X or whatever it's called.
Twitter. Both. Yeah, you're right. I could do both. You're right.
Threads is where it's at. I have to say, Threads. I love the people on Threads.
Threads is like early stage Twitter, right?
Yes,
early stage Twitter.
Fun.
I don't even want to say when I first joined Twitter, but it was in the early days, and it was a nice little community. But then, now it's the point where I write something and people will look up my home address and DM it to me. And it's like, really? We're going down the road? Okay. I don't need this in my life anymore. And now Threads is sort of, it's fun. It's pleasant. I enjoy it.
It is pleasant.
It's not the sense of dread that I used to get when I would like flip open my phone and like click on that X icon or that Twitter icon. There's no dread. It's just joy right now.
It's joy.
Engagement is wonderful.
Well, the engagement is great. The people are great. Everybody's nice now. 10 years from now, we'll probably be dreading it when we open it. But for now, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I knew I made it on Threads when I got my first spam bot the other day. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, this is for X only, not your people.
Yeah. That's every like or retweet on X right now, I can't open when my kids are around.
Yeah, it's
like,
it's so bad, but not to go off on a tangent on. Owen, do you want to close us out or no?
I can close us out. Sure.
Okay. I can update. Are you saying numbers or no?
I'll say numbers.
Okay.
But I will start with, first of all, Mark, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you, friend.
And always joining us.
And always joining us, yes.
I love coming on.
We love when you come on.
As I told you guys, look, you guys were our first F1 podcast spot. You guys will always have the number one place in my heart. Believe me when I say that.
We love that. We love to hear that. But yes, thank you so much for coming on. We love having you here. We love talking to somebody that explains things to us, and the whole 9 yards. It's a blast. Always a blast having you on. We can't thank you enough for it. For anybody who did listen to this episode and made it through this entire episode, first of all,
thank you.
Congrats to you. That's great. Hour and a half. That's awesome. But if you're here at this point, go follow Mark on X, on Threads. Go follow him on Threads. It's Mark Schofield. His name is scrolling at the bottom, but it's also MarkSchofi. No. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
MarkSchofield 3916 on Threads and X at Mark Schofield. I definitely did not just read that off the bottom.
That's why I saw your head going like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trailing it.
Everybody who watches this video episode has a wonderful view of my forehead.
Mhm.
It's like the Fernando meme from earlier this year.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. There you go.
There you go.
Top person of the year, Fernando Alonso.
But please go follow him. His articles are great. I love reading his stuff before we record and just in general too. It's a great time killer at work as well. I love reading all this stuff. But then please go also follow us on Instagram and Threads at Underground F1 and also on X at Underground_F1.
Don't do it.
Shaking your head no because she wants me to turn the Threads. Mark wants me to come to Threads as well. But we are currently at, and this is kind of gross because when we started the episode, this wasn't the number, but we are currently at 2,562 followers on Threads. And when we started the episode, we were at 2,555. So disgusting. I don't even know like how to react to that, but other than just say thank you again. But please, yes, if you have any questions or want us to talk about anything, please give us an email or DM us or comment on, any of those social media platforms. Our email is undergroundf1pod@gmail.com. We are working on I'll give a little tease for this. We are working on something for anybody that does follow any of our socials to kind of come and hang out and have a little bit more of a direct method to get in touch with us.
Some watch parties for Drive to Survive.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got some stuff in the works. But right now, please go send us an email there or anything if you have any sort of questions or comments or anything you want us to know or talk about. Please also go leave a review for a show on where you listen to your podcast. That's the best way it can help the show grow. Get it, into the Explore pages on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, stuff like that. And then finally, please go give our main YouTube page a follow and a subscribe. It is at Underground Sports Philadelphia. Right now, we're currently sitting at 656 subscribers. We want to get to 700 before the end of the month, before the end of the year. I guess it's a better way to say that too.
Ew.
If that's possible, we would love to hit that number. And the more we grow this YouTube page, the more Casey and I can do, the more that Kyle and all the other guys and all of our other shows can do for everybody and make more content. And we love doing this. So we want to get to there.
And there's a show for everyone.
Yeah. There's a show for everyone on there. I mean, there's movies, there's us, there's lacrosse, soccer,
maybe not the Philadelphia sports one if you're not a Philadelphia sports fan.
If you're not a Philadelphia sports fan, maybe not. Although,
might be a little depressing this week.
Yeah, it might be a little bit depressing. I was listening to the episode early today. Kind of had some rants in there from Kyle. I loved it. But yeah, so please go follow us there. Again, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us. And thank you to everybody who listened to this episode and stuck around for this long. We'll see you next week.
See ya.